everybody, welcome back to my channel. This morning, well, it's morning here when I'm filming. I guess it's morning when you're watching it. This morning, we're going to do another beginner sewer project. So, I was trying to come up with, there are just so many beginner sewer projects, but I wanted to come up with something that was more than just like, something, first of all, something that was practical, something that different people can use, whatever style of decor you have, whatever budget you're on. I'm using a remnant from Walmart today. This remnant was $1.92. We're not going to use all of it because the pillow that we're going to cover is not as big as the fabric. The fabric is 44 inches wide by 35 inches long. But I'm going to give you the dimensions and measurements that you'll need today. So first thing you're going to need is a fabric and a ruler and a scissor. And then of course your sewing machine, stitch witchery, fabric glue, or hand sewing thread and needle. And really that's it. Oh, and your iron. Because your iron just makes it easier. You can do this without an iron and it may not look absolutely perfect or whatever, but the iron really just does help. It helps hold the fabric in place while you're pinning. And pinning is another thing. Straight pins, they don't have to be the kind with the beads on them, but straight pins, you can find them at the Dollar Tree, Walmart, everywhere. If you don't have straight pins, there are different methods that people use. They use paper clips, they use binder clips, they use clothespins. Anything that you have that you can hold the fabric together while you sew is what you want to do. I'm going to make a slip cover for this pillow today. And I picked this one. I'll show you really quick. That giant pink pillow, and it's giant. Like you can't tell from here, but see my hand? It's giant. I'm actually going to be making those for me, but I don't have the surface area to make them and videotape. So what I decided to do was I have this remnant fabric and I love it. It goes with all my decor. And I have these pillows in the office that I can just make a slip cover for, and they're pretty standard size. You'll find that throw pillows come in 16 by 16, 18 by 18, 20 by 20. That's usually the standard sizes, but and if you wanted to just make a 20 by 20 slip cover and stick a 16 by 16 pillow in there, it really wouldn't be the worst looking thing either. I promise you that. But what you're going to do is you're going to measure your pillow, and I know your pillow's round like this. Don't measure there. Just measure the very end, corner to corner, and pull it tight so that you can get your actual, my glasses. I'm gonna put my elbows on. Pull it tight so you can get your actual measurement. And I'm just using a standard ruler. This is just, see, this pillow is 16 by 16. Okay, and I'm pretty sure it's square, but you want to just double check your other measurements. You never know. Maybe your eyeballs are just fooling you or something, so you never can tell. Yeah, it's a 16 by 16 square. So once you have the measurement of your pillow, for beginners, I like to tell you to use a 1/2 inch to 1 inch seam allowance. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that 16 inches and you're going to add 2 inches to just one side. The other side, you're going to use the width of a fabric. Now, we mentioned this in the previous sewing video that fabrics come mostly in 42 inch width, 40 to 44, 46 inch width sometimes. And whatever width you get will work. You'll just have the extra in the fold, and I'll show you what I mean there. What you want to do is you want to take the measurement, which is 16 inches, and I'm going to add 2 inches to it. So I'm going to make an 18 inch long piece of fabric. An 18 inch wide piece of fabric, that's 44 inches long. So I only have to do the one measurement and one cut. I have a fabric scissor that I use just for fabrics. I mean, it's not a special scissor, it's just a Fiskars scissor, but I make sure I keep it. I wrote fabrics only on there. Just because when you use your scissor for other applications, it dulls, you know, scissors get dull. And you really need a sharp, nice, fine scissor for your fabric. Okay? So I know that the width of the fabric, and the width is from like the factory edge to the factory edge. So there's a factory edge, and there's a, sorry. And there's a factory edge. And I can tell this is a factory edge because it's got these little tiny holes. Can you see any holes? Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see a few there. It's got these little tiny holes plus this unfinished edge. And so that's a 44-inch length this way. So it's folded in half. I have my fabric folded in half. And that's 44 inches from this factory edge to this factory edge. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to measure 18 inches from this cut edge. Now, if the lady who cut your fabric, might have been drunk that day, so you just want to make sure that you have your fabric nice and square, and then you measure your 18 inches from there. And there is a trick if you have a rotary cutter. I used to have a rotary cutter. I brought it to church and I lost it. What you do is you fold your fabric even more. You can fold your fabric in fourths or eighths, and you can cut through it all at once. So you want to make sure you line up all of your edges and you fold with your raw edges. That's how I like to get to know when I'm squared up, is I take my fold, which is a nice crease fold. And a lot of times with patterns like this, I don't know if you can see the edge here. A lot of times with patterns like this, you can tell that this is even because it repeats. It's just right above this little line all the way through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up with my salvage edge, the factory edge basically. I'm going to line that up so that there is no bump here. See now, if there was a bump here and I was lined up, that means I would be off kilter. So there we go. Now it looks like it's even there and even here. If you have a rotary cutter and a straight edge, you go ahead and can clean up this end as well. But as you can see here, I'm going to show you, I'll turn you a little bit. As you can see here, it's not cut evenly because of the same reason I just told you here. This pattern, which is very symmetrical, is not hitting the cut edge on the same place, okay? Okay, so once you have that, you want to sew 18 inches. I'm going to use a piece of chalk. This is a washable chalk marker. So this way it'll show up for the camera anyway. So I'm going to try to keep my ruler as even, as parallel to the top, to the cut as possible. And I'm going to mark at 18 inches, which just happens to be the length of my ruler. Oh, push it back because you can't see. I'm actually, 18 inches is actually right where there's white. So, okay. So I'm marking there. Okay. And then I'm going to move the ruler down and get 2 marks, because you always want to get 2 marks so that you can draw a straight line. Okay. And 18 inches is here. Okay, can you see that? And now I'm going to connect them. Oh, I put my marker away, which was silly. Now I'm going to connect my 2 marks. Of course, if you're working on a light fabric, you don't need to worry about using a white marker. It's just because I'm working on a dark fabric. And you can see that my marks are even because of the pattern on this particular piece of fabric. So let me just, I moved my ruler on accident, sorry. Okay. You can barely see it. I don't think you can see it on the camera at all, but you can barely see it here. Let's see, can you see it at all on the camera? Oh, yes, you can. Okay, good. So just to show you, even if you don't have to see it like crazy, just make sure your fabric is still lined up. We don't want that to move. I picked, normally you wouldn't have to move it. I just picked it up to show the camera. So if you do have to move it, you just make sure you put it back where it was. Make it nice and even again. Okay. And then you're going to cut along . Okay. And that, I want to tell you that that is the hardest part of the whole project. And I'm going to set my iron to cotton because this is a cotton fabric. So on my iron, if you're new to irons, your irons have a dial with settings on them. Okay, and some of the settings allow it to be steamable if you have a steamer iron. But I have it set. To cotton. So you want to open it up all the way. And you always, well, not always, but most always want to sew with the right sides together. So this is what is considered the right side, and this is what's considered the wrong side or the back side. I've heard it referred to as both, but the right side and the wrong side is usually what you hear. So you usually want to sew on the right side. I mean, you want to sew right sides together. Man, I'm having trouble talking. And you may want to press your fabric out flat. Mine has the factory fold in it, which the fold is actually going to be in the middle of the pillow. So I definitely want to try to get that crease out. And again, not a 911 priority, just something that's aesthetically pleasing. The tricky part is deciding where you want the front of your pillow to be. So it's going to be somewhere in the middle of the fabric, and we know that this is the middle because that's where it was folded from the factory. But if you have an intricate pattern on here, not an intricate pattern, if you have a picture, say you got a fabric with butterflies and you want a butterfly to be right in the middle, you do have give on both sides because there is extra, but you want to make sure that you put that towards the center. Okay, so I'm going to show you just for demonstrative purposes that, let me get, so I want this cute little magnet to be in the, this cute little magnet is on my fabric, and it is the picture that I want to be in the middle. So my pillow is 16 inches. So if I want this to be in the middle, I'm going to land 8 inches on the ruler right in the middle of it. And I'm going to measure 8 inches on both sides, so from 0 to 16, and I'm going to mark my fabric. Okay? If for some reason the butterfly lands there and the center of the pillow would be a stupid leaf, then you just move it over. You do the same thing. You land 8 inches in the middle of your picture. So 8 inches on each side, so that's marked the 0 and the 16. Okay? I don't have a butterfly in my picture, on my fabric. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, I'm going to pick this to be the middle, so I'm going to measure 0 to 16. Okay, so we want to make sure that we measure 16 inches and mark, but we're going to mark it with a fold, okay? So I've marked it there. But what we're going to do is we're going to mark it with a fold. And what I mean by that is we're going to just put our straight edge on the mark, which is there. And I'm going to use the pattern to make sure that it's square. And I'm going to fold the fabric. And one of the things that's nice about having a metal ruler is that this is something I can iron on. So then I want to iron. I'm going to iron over my ruler, but if you can't, you just pull your ruler out, okay, and leave your fold there. And then you want to iron your fabric. You want to get a nice crease right here, okay? And then you want to do the same thing with this mark, okay? Now, if your fabric is way longer than you're about to, like, say my mark was under here, okay, then you want to pull this back while you iron, okay? But I'll show you what we're going to do in a minute anyway. So put the iron on the mark with a fold. Now this wouldn't work. You need 4 inches on your length. You need twice your pillow width plus at least 4 inches. Oop. Oh, there's something sticky on my ruler. Sorry about that. because what you want to do is we're going to create a, okay, now you're going to take the inside fold, your first fold, that's right sides together, and you're going to fold back about 4 inches. The exact measurement is not, like, it doesn't have to be exactly, but you want a minimum of 4 inches. Okay, and then you're going to iron again. Now we're going to put this piece of fabric back over, right up to where we ironed. Okay, and then we're going to pin the straight edges. Okay, let's do that. So you're going to make sure you use the edge of your fabric right against that 1 inch seam allowance, okay? And then it's the sewing like we learned last time. So we're going to start off, we have our machine set at straight stitches. I have mine set at 2.5 width because I like them nice and tight. We're at the straight stitches. Okay, which is number 2. Okay, so I have my machine set at the number 2. The gray dial is at number 2. The white dial is set at straight stitches. My tension, I never really touch my tension, and my stitch length is about 2.5. Okay, so we're going to put our dog foot down. We're going to start sewing straight, and then we're going to put our reverse in just to give ourselves a nice tacking stitch. Okay. So I'm going to take this opportunity while I'm sewing to tell you that there are other options besides a sewing machine to create this pillow. Because they are straight lines, you could use stitch witchery, which is sort of like a seam binding, or hem tape. You might have heard of hem tape. You could use fabric glue, or you can hand stitch. Just a blanket stitch or a running stitch on the edge of these would really hold nicely if you don't have a sewing machine at home. I just wanted to let you guys know that there was other options, but because this is a beginner sewing for the sewing machine, it is just completely straight stitches. So that's why I decided to show you this one, because it is like a really nice way to start, because you have a nice finished project in under an hour. This whole project took me a total of 45 minutes, but that was with editing the video, not editing, but with shooting the video and moving the camera around and stuff. If I was just doing this, let's put it this way, I made 4 big pillows in the time it took me to watch one Fever Pitch with Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so now we have our sewed piece, and we don't have to worry about any of these lousy salvaged edges, okay? If you want to get a nice sharp corner, you can clip. Okay, so let's see. It's funny that I picked contrasting threads because I was thinking white thread on black fabric. However, I'm sewing on the wrong side, so you can barely see it. So I apologize about that. But if you'd like to get a nice sharp corner, there is our stitches right there. And you don't want to cut all the way to the stitches because it could unravel, but you want to cut go about 1/4 of an inch in from the stitch. Sorry, go in about 1/4 of an inch from the stitch and cut a little bit of an angle off like that. Okay, and do that to all 4 corners if you choose. I'm only going to do it to 2 because I'd like to show you what it looks like with or without. Okay, you want to reach in and turn out your corners. Now, if you do want pretty sharp corners, there's lots of different tools and techniques. I think one of my favorites is the paintbrush end. And again, not a priority, but you just, I turned the corner. This is the one that I didn't cut. And you just push the fabric right out to the corner. See, I want to show you that both of them. So this is another one that I didn't cut, and I want to show you that all you do is take you don't want to use anything too pointy or sharp because you can come through your corner. You know, there you go. And that's a nice sharp corner. And then I'll do the other two just so you can see the difference. So if you watched my shop with me with the fabric from Walmart, I said it was a Waverly fabric, but this is a Waverly fabric. It just had the same pattern. Somebody in the comments told me the name of it, which is pretty awesome. Thank you, everybody, for all of your tips and help. So the corners, as you can see, look just the same. And then, really, you're done. Okay. So if you feel the need to iron, this is a good place to do it. All right, but as you can see, here's the pocket, and because we folded that inside edge in, it looks finished, and all we did was straight stitching. Okay, and you want to iron that, and then if you feel the need, let me show you. If you feel the need to pull these out, like with your fingers while you iron them, you can, but I don't care. The pillow will do that. I just want to give it a nice clean, you know, we had ironed these edges, these folded edges, we ironed them wrong sides out, so now they're just wanting to be pressed right sides out. All right, and so if you've never used a pillow sham before, here's your pillow sham directions. What you basically want to do is you want to open up the pocket. You want to open the not the folded side, but you want to get in there and open that side. And you want to stuff that side in first. And this may be difficult if you have extra fabric, but anybody can't stuff a pillowcase. It needs to practice more, because needs to stop having people make their bed for them. Just kidding. Okay. So now we have that end in. And you take this end and you fold it over, and that's what's great about pillows, is they're so giving. I like to take the corner of the pillow with my finger, and I'm pushing the corner of the pillow into the corner of the pillow sham. And I know you can't see that because it's happening inside, but if you understand what I'm saying, I'm actually grabbing the corner of the pillow and I'm stuffing it into the corner of the pillow sham. And I will do that on all four sides. Then we tuck in the raw edge, and we fold over the nice pretty edge, and there, my friends, you have a beautifully recovered throw pillow. Did you learn something? I hope you learned something. So that's it. This one's looking really cute, and when I'm done, if I get done with my pillows for the living room tonight, I'll add it to the end of the video. But I have to get cracking because I have 3 of them to do, and they're huge. Huge. So that's everything I got to teach you about making this simple project. If you have any questions at all, if I skipped anything, just leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share with friends and family, anybody who might be interested in learning how to make a pillow sham. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. When you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. So as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time.